On the last video we did, we had a lot of messages and comments come through of people asking how I got started, how we got to where we are now. So I want to go through how I dropped out of college and then how I got to buying 3 properties in the last 3 months at the age of 21. So after finishing school, I went to college. Now I did a year there studying engineering, but it weren't really for me. The whole time I was just thinking about, I'd rather be out working, earning money. So I ended up dropping out after a year and working for my mate's stepdad. This job was painting aeroplanes. Now this is an unusual job for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's painting commercial and private aircraft, and then you'd also be doing long hours. So it was 7 to 7, 7 days a week. And obviously working 84 hours a week gives you quite a lot of opportunity to A, earn a lot of money, and B, save a lot of money. And while I was there, I was able to sort of think of ideas and businesses I wanted to start. While I was there, just one day I was at the burger van chatting to one of the engineers next door, and he was telling me how he rents a room in Bournemouth, but his family home's up in the northeast. And that really intrigued my mind and got me looking into property. And then I came across rent to rent. Following doing lots of research, I ended up starting a company in 2019 called HMO Property. I had about 12,000 saved up from working at the airport that I used to start this company. I also did a course to help with learning some of the details with doing the rent-to-rent strategy. I'd never even rented a property before, and I was still living at home with my parents at the time, so this was all completely new to me. If you're interested in doing rent-to-rent, there's a link in the description to a course by the Fontaine brothers that I recommend you look at. 6 months after starting the company, after many viewings and many failed negotiations, I was able to get my first property a week after my 18th birthday. More and more properties followed after that, and I was able to leave my job a month after getting my first property. And I also started doing sourcing, so I was going out and finding properties for other rent-to-rent investors, alongside of also getting properties for my own portfolio. In going out and trying to find more rent-to-rent deals, we were in lots of negotiations with landlords. Now we wouldn't always be able to get a deal over the line. We knew what prices we'd be able to get for the rooms, but we couldn't always make it work, so it was a win-win situation. Sometimes landlords want a bit more rent, but we couldn't offer that because our margins wouldn't be there. So we decided to offer management so we didn't lose those deals. And that was really welcomed by a lot of landlords. We started growing the management side of the business really quickly. And we gained about 5 or 6 landlords in the first couple of months. As the business grew, I eventually moved out of my bedroom office into an office just down the road. We did a bit of refurbishment and branded it. At this time, I also gained my first member of staff, which was a VA, which helped with a lot of the admin, booking in viewings and managing the tenancies as well. With the new management clients, it meant that we were doing more and more maintenance work as opposed to having a rent-to-rent property where the landlord would do the work. We were getting experience by doing like new bathrooms, new kitchens, and then more medial tasks as well, like repairing leaks and boilers, etc. One day we had a landlady approach us through a referral of one of our existing management clients, and she had a property which had been absolutely trashed by a rent-to-rent company, and she wanted us to manage the refurb and do the refurb for her. Now she lived over in Israel, so she wasn't able to appoint any contractors or do it, so we were happy to help her and do that. And we ended up doing a full refurbishment as a HMO and then left it and still manage it to this day for her. Off the back of that HMO project, I continued running the construction company, and then we started doing other jobs as well, such as kitchen diner extensions, garage conversions, and other jobs like that. I was making decent money at this point, and I decided I wanted to start buying property. I didn't have loads and loads of cash, and because of my age, I also didn't want to have to get a mortgage, so I decided to go up north. The plan was to buy properties, flip them, and then sell them. And I had a project manager in place, and this was meant to be a hands-free venture, so I could be working on the property management company and the construction company while this ticks over in the background and makes 15, 20, 30,000 per deal that's done. The reality of this was completely different. The project went completely tits up. The project manager was incompetent. They couldn't assess the quality of work. The project was 6 months over. It was only a small 2-bed terraced house, and it ended up taking 9 or 10 months, I think. But yeah, their standard of work was awful. They went really over budget. I essentially ended up selling this property for a small margin, probably 12% less than what I should have done. A number of reason for that. I just wanted out, and I wanted to put my money into other things. Even though this wasn't the most profitable deal, this was a catalyst to make me rethink my plan of doing 2 or 3 of these projects a year and having that ticking over to actually think I could just do this myself within the Bournemouth market, because I know the HMO market really well and I know how to refurbish them, I then launched the service that you've probably seen most of our content based about, which is our Turnkey HMO Portfolio Builder. Now, this is what we primarily do at the moment. Obviously, we've still got all the properties that we manage and have on rent to rents, but that business almost runs by itself. And my focus now is doing these turnkey HMO conversions. So what we do for this is we will source a property for an investor. We'll also do all the works pre-acquisition for the investor. So we'll do all of the numbers relating to the project. We will do the costings. So that'll be for the works, the furnishing and the setup. We will do a valuation and get a valuation pack prepared for a pre-works GDV. We'll also put together a schedule of works for the project so we know what the duration of the project should be and then when and where to put the trades in. And then we'll arrange for all the surveys and reports that need to be done. We'll also help arrange finance by putting them in touch with our broker and solicitor as well, if they don't have one, to push the purchase through. Although most of our projects are done under permit development, if planning is needed for an extension or for a large HMO like a sui generis one, we'll also put in the planning application and work alongside a planning advisor. Once the investor completes on the property, we'll also carry out the refurbishment in-house with my construction company, and we typically finish the properties to a high-end all-en-suite standard. Once the refurbishment's done, we then set up and then manage the property. We'll also make sure it's got the right certificate of lawfulness, builder control sign-off, and then we'll do all the documents to get it refinanced. Typically after the refinance, you're then left with a project which has got between 40 to 60% return on investment, and it's normally between £1,800 to £2,200 a month profit for one of these properties. Now, going forward to today, we've bought 3 properties in the last 3 months. This has been a mix of ones that I've bought myself and ones that we've bought for investors. And we should be completing on another one in February also. Across the businesses, we now have 7 staff, some full-time and some part-time. And we also have now 170 rooms that we either manage or have on a rent-to-rent contract. Going forward, what we want to do in the business is to grow the HMO portfolio builder side of it. So we want to try and do 12 projects a year. So that's 1 a month that we're buying either for ourselves or for our clients. You know, we believe that the HMO market provides excellent returns, especially when you compare it to a normal buy-to-let. And when you compare it to something like service accommodation, although it can sometimes provide high returns, it's not as consistent. You know, we can sort of tell month in, month out what these are going to produce because they are long-term tenants. And because we finish them to such a high standard, they are desirable, and our tenant turnover is not as high as a lower or mid-end type HMO. If you've got any questions about either rent to rent or if you're looking to invest, just drop me a message either on Instagram or on Facebook and I'll get back to you. If there's any other content that you want to see, whether that's property-wise or business-wise, construction-wise, let me know and we'll see what we can do. Oh my...